So I've been listening to the Wim Hoff method, which is really powerful. I've been practicing cold showers for a year and had been kind of suffering under it. Like, it was not getting easier. In fact, I had swore off warm showers altogether for 40 days to see what would happen. And I just found it increasingly traumatizing. I'm like, all right, I'm doing something wrong here. And I kind of figured out what the problem was before reading this book. I had just seen him on various podcasts and kind of had a general idea of what his technique was. And I was like, all right, good enough for me. Why be fully informed, right? So anyway, I'm getting fully informed now. But the trick is that we have to have a kind of excitement and trust of our body. Excitement for the cold, excitement for the challenge. And I love this for an analogy of how humanity needs to evolve into the next level of our development, of our survival, of our capacity to unite with the planet, which is our spaceship. It's the best spaceship we could ever ask for, right? Like, if we ruin it, we're going to have to make a clunky, nasty alternative spaceship to get through the void in. And I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to make some clunky, nasty version. I mean, if we can figure out how to do that in order to make this home better, that's cool. And if there are people willing to endure that humanity can have a better good altogether, that's cool, as long as they're not forced into a situation of having to do that. So anyway, what I was really wanting to talk about was how, as Ian McGilchrist says, we've let the emissary become the master. We've let the less intelligent methodology of orienting ourselves in the world do all the talking and do all the ruling of our lives. The left hemisphere, the analytical side of our nature, the grasping nature. And we've said, oh, this is the part that fixes things. This is the part that invents science and invents machines. This is the brilliant part of us. Whereas what neuroscience shows us is time and time again, people who have the left hemisphere damaged can operate fine in the world. But those who have the right hemisphere, the wise part of us, the intuitive part of us, when that part of our brain goes south, is damaged, people can't orient correctly in the world. They become psychotic. They become overly focused on inconsequentials and blind to the truly consequential. What we have to be able to do, just as Wim Hof has stepped into the cold, trusting his body to be able to endure something that science says is not possible. The dude was able to, just through the trick of the mind, not through his breathing technique, but just through trusting his brain, his body, was able to keep his body temperature at the right temperature. If he didn't trust his body, his temperature went down. But when he trusted his body and thought, my body will be good, it will be warm, his body was warm. He was able to tap into that through faith, through trust in his own capacities. And I think this is true of how we need to orient into the world as a whole. Now, a lot of nonsense can evolve that way, right? Because we have to have wisdom, and not everybody has wisdom. So we have to have the wisdom and the methodologies to be able to discern what is fruitful and what is not, what is wise and what is not. But that's a process we can become aware of, and that we can trust. It won't look like a scientific process, because that's the wrong methodology for a holistic approach to life. But like what I was picturing in my mind, Wim was talking about how we breathe out CO2 and the trees soak it in and breathe out oxygen. That's a win-win sum game, right? That's a positive sum game. And what that made me realize is, wow, what other positive sum games are possible if we are just open to the intuitive mind, the mind that doesn't grasp the part but sees the whole. It doesn't grasp the whole. You can't grasp the whole. You can only see it in some pattern, in some analogy, in some story. What if we collectively began trusting it and began building modules and methods and images, visions, perspectives on how to gain, not how to gain control, but how to work with our spaceship, this beautiful spaceship that we get to live on, and live together, and to have all the creature comfort, these wonderful comforts we have, and all the knowledge we get to have, all the entertainment and the joy, but to have the discipline to only use it correctly, right? To fast from our technologies for a season, maybe half a year, maybe a quarter of a year, whatever is necessary to begin building sustainable lifestyles. I don't know what that looks like. I'm guessing. I'm throwing out guesses. Intuitive punches. Punches, I don't know why I said punches. Punching at our current system, I suppose. Our current intuitions and assumptions, not intuitions, our current assumptions. And our patterns. The patterns we are stuck in. We're stuck in a rut in. The things we are certain of. We are so certain that our way of life is the only one we are going to be able to do comfortably. Whereas, if we become tougher, if we become stronger, we can actually be really happy, happier than we are now. Because actually, all these creature comforts don't make life better. They make us suicidal. Suicide is rising. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that counterintuitive? Suicide is rising as we become more comfortable. And it's because we're jealous, and it's because we want more, and we are looking outside of ourselves for happiness instead of looking within ourselves for love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Looking in a spirituality, looking in a self-discipline, in a self-control, a self-sacrifice, if you will. You know, there's a lot of Christianity in there. Sorry to bring that up, but yeah, it's a great model. If it's not done in the controlling, grasping, manipulative way that religion ends up doing. There's two roots in religion. There's a spirituality that is about self-control and self-governance. And then there's the top-down religious governance that is about systems and people who tell you what to think and tell you what to do. And a true spirituality, a true self-controlled, self-joy embedded in the person, Christ embedded in the person, will never happen so long as we are simply letting the church tell us what to do. Not that the church is bad. We need those places. We need those kind of communities. Anyway, I don't know how I got on this, but I hope that was helpful. Thank you for your time.